What's happening, comic fans? So it's time to weigh in on one of the many points of contention within the community. Yes, we're talking about graded comics and whether they're a scam. Short answer, no, with a caveat. Let's talk about it. All right, so we're talking about graded comics and if they're a scam. As I said, the short answer is absolutely not. I don't think so. With a big but following that. Yes, there's a major caveat and something that I think is part of where the whole scam argument kind of comes into. But just for the basis, why I don't think they're a scam. Because honestly, especially as a collector who I collect newer comics, older comics, and part of my collection, a lot of long-term running series, and my main series, all go back several decades. So yes, I've gotten into older comics a lot, Silver Age stuff, and Golden Age as well. And a lot of times when you're talking about raw comics, you don't always know what you're going to get. And I bought from comic shops, I bought from conventions, bought from online. And again, even with raw comics, you're never guaranteed. There's always been, especially with eBay, there's always been contentions on grades. Not always going to agree on grades. And hey, I think this is this condition. I think this is this condition. So as a seller, I'm selling, I think it's this price, it commands this price. The buyer, I don't think it's that grade and it should be this price, or I'm not going to pay that. So that's where grading kind of came in. At least on paper, it should be, in theory, hey, this is this, we're putting it at this grade, so these are everything that's wrong with this book, all the defects, this is what it's like, front cover, back cover, interiors, centerfolds, missing coupons, cutouts, all this other stuff, page quality, everything is out there, it's all laid out. Here it is for this condition, this grade, these are the quality page, or the page quality. So, and then kind of let people kind of set the prices, the market kind of dictated, so on and so forth. And you can haggle individual collector or individual buyers and sellers, retailers, all that stuff. So everybody has a point like, hey, we're going to kind of go off of this. So, especially dealing with older books, I recommend, like, hey, you really got to do a lot of research when you're talking about older books, Silver Age, Golden Age, especially because you never know what you're going to get. Are the pages going to be there? Or is this the actual original cover for this particular book, front and back cover? Is it married? Are the staples? What's going on with staples? Have they been new staples put in? All this sort of stuff. So when you're talking about mold or rusted staples, anything, any sort of interior damage, and before you get your hands on it, you never know. So that's what that's for. That's what that should be for. Now we get into more recent, especially within recent years, a lot of new people get into the hobby, a lot of new collectors, and then all the rage on social media, YouTube, especially on Instagram, and with the rise of whatnot, all these other, probably even TikTok as well, but particularly YouTube and Instagram, everybody's showing off their collections, talking about everything, and one of the big things is graded comics, because graded comics, especially comic books that are key, because they're drawing the big numbers in for attention, for viewership, for clicks, for likes, all this stuff. Those are the ones that bring in a lot of the attention. And newer collectors, they hear all this stuff about 9/8, and I see it on Reddit a lot of times too. People, oh, I'm new to comics, new to collecting. What should I go after? What key should I go after? So that should tell you something right there. That should absolutely red flag everybody's spider sense is going on. So as far as the scam parts come in, this is where a lot of that comes in, because all of a sudden with the rise of a lot of things have already been graded, but now when newer collectors come in, everybody wants to have books in 9.8. It doesn't even matter, 9.8, 9.9s, 10s, everybody's seeking those numbers for the books. Doesn't even matter. That's why we get the influx of all these books across the board. You see it on eBay, you see it on Reddit, Instagram, YouTube, just everybody dumping books on Facebook Marketplace and eBay and all the other auction sites. All these big books, or all these books, not even just big books, but just books period, getting graded and just hoping for high grades. It needs to be a 9.8, new releases getting shipped off to get graded. Why? It's absolutely not. So some people might be saying, oh, it's a scam from that perspective because all these books are getting out there. Or even just one of the other big points is, especially with long-term readers and older readers, is, oh, books are meant to be read. Absolutely true. I read my books, but when I'm dealing with a lot of older books and I want to make sure they're in a specific condition, I don't have to worry about certain books, certain keys. And even I don't like to focus on keys. yeah, I want to make sure the book I'm getting is the book I'm paying for is in that specific condition as stated, so I don't have to worry about certain things. And when you're dealing with, especially with older books, hey, you might come with fragile books. They're going to be brittle, and you don't want to put too many more hands on them for they just fall apart. So, as I said, no, I don't think graded comics is a scam, but I do think, as with any facet of life, yes, they're going to be bad actors. People are going to do unsavory things. We've already seen a lot of the controversies and issues with CGC specifically, like, hey, with the like the replacing books and labels and all that stuff that kind of goes with that. Yes, there's going to be something to worry about in every facet of life. Do your due diligence. That's where you have the certification numbers, CGC, CBCS, and pretty sure all the other companies might have them as well. So you can go check out the graders notes. You can see and match them up and kind of compare it that way. Now, as for some actual scams that would involve graded comics, anybody guaranteeing a certain grade, that's hard to match, especially for, you're talking about higher grade stuff. Hey, I guarantee this is that. Okay, buyer beware. And another one is people attempting to sell books that they don't actually have in possession. So they might just have screen grabs, screenshots of certain books. And that's why I mentioned the point about the certification numbers. You can easily go check those online. You can go find those. You can find them in multiple. I've seen it on eBay as well. And I've screenshot them just to see, like, hey, sometimes people just use stock photos of graded books. So the books might be the same across a couple listings from a specific seller. But other times they won't. Most people shouldn't use stock photos. But especially when we're talking about graded comics, but that's just one way. Like, hey, all of a sudden they have this another listing up with the same book, the same exact certification number. Okay, raise a red flag, do some due diligence, and just kind of see what happens there. But yeah, so there are a couple of things you should watch out for. As I said, buyer beware, and always do your due diligence. That's why we ask for, when I say, or that's why I would say, when you go to conventions, when you're talking about checking out raw books, always ask to inspect them, especially when you're paying more than a couple of dollars. And anybody buying bigger books, you know exactly what I mean. Like, check those out. But the point of grading should be, as a community, we should embrace it as not just saying any one specific grading company, but just as a philosophy, with the idea being that we have some sort of consensus on the grade and the condition of the book, what defects are attached to that book, so we can have a starting base for what the price can be. Like, all right, this is where we're going to start at. Hey, we're going to negotiate from here and kind of go from there. Hey, if you're at a comic shop, especially at conventions, go ahead, make some deals. Hey, what can we do on this? Blah, 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 especially talking about cash. But that's just that. I just wanted to chime in as someone who is a collector, a reader, and who has delved into grading books picking up graded books. I haven't sent any in to be graded, but I have purchased graded books in person, online. And yeah, I just wanted to chime in because I think it's still just a bit of a debate within the comic book community, and wanted to kind of share some thoughts on that, on different sides of that, and express my opinion. But also, I say, not everything needs to be graded. Not every book needs to be graded. Just no point in doing it. Some people are just honestly just throwing money away. But if that's how you collect, and you just want to have some books encapsulated like that, then hey, that's how you want to collect. That's like, hey, if it's all about the passion and collecting how you want to collect, collecting what you want to collect. So go for it. I'm just saying, as purposes of whether scams or potential future investment and money value, from like some of those things just aren't worth it. So kind of go into it, doing some research, and knowing your purpose for it will kind of change depending on perspective. So that's that. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Curious to see what other people have to say about this. So that's that. Happy reading, happy hunting, happy collecting. I'm Gino, the Genotalkscomics. Thanks for watching, and peace out.